What's going on, YouTube? It's another Q&A with Dr. K. So my Instagram DMs appear to be the best place where people can reach me and leave me comments, and they ask me a lot of questions. And one question that I got, actually three people have asked this question, and I'm not sure why my thoughts are that important, but people wanted to know about my thoughts on the whole Lil Nas X situation with the new song that he dropped, and the religious imagery, mental health, the church, and things like that. So I figured I would make a YouTube video about it because obviously y'all know TikTok is my primary platform where I love to put out content at it. But y'all know I'm on TikTok, Twitch, YouTube. I'm expanding, to be all over the internet. So when we talk about this Lil Nas X situation, first of all, I haven't even seen the whole music video. I have to put that out there. I've seen some of the clips on TikTok and on on Instagram and things like that, and that style of entertainment, that's not my style of entertainment. I don't necessarily consume things like that. But at the same time, we all have the internet and we all have the ability to create a profile on all these different websites and put our content out there, put our music out there, put our music videos and our thoughts out there. So he has the right to express himself creatively, and likewise, we have the right to either take it in or to not take it in. And when you talk about the music video and the religious themes in there, and I want to say that he released some shoes that had like a 666 on the side or something. And once again, like, that's not my cup of tea. That's not something that I'm gonna buy, or that's not content that I really engage in or engage with. And a lot of people want to know, like, is it demonic? Like, is it mentally healthy? What's going on here? And I like a video that I saw that was a response to it from a good friend of mine who's actually in the Southern California area. He's a Adventist pastor. I love his reaction to it, and I'll have his reaction to it like in the YouTube description, because I don't know if I'm going to get copyrighted by putting it here in the YouTube video. But I love his reaction to it. He essentially said that a lot of times the church will be upset when they see something like what Lil Nas X put out. It was a lot of Christians will categorize it as flagrant, and I come from a heavy religious background. So that's not a video that we would watch in the church, right? And like I said, it's not my cup of tea, but I do understand that he has the right to the internet the same way that I have, and I want him to be able to creatively express himself. But Kevin, who's a pastor who put out the response, essentially said that a lot of times when an artist like Lil Nas X will put out a video like this, people will deem it to be flagrant, offensive, shocking, and they'll say that, we won't partake in this type of thing, which is fine. Everybody is entitled to their thoughts. But at the same time, he brought up another issue and said that the church will immediately react to this type of thing, but they won't react to the issues which might lead to this type of video, right? And I know Lil Nas X said that, he for the longest thought he was going to go to hell because he was gay. Like, that's what they preach in the church. And a lot of times the church likes to bounce around and not confront issues head on, and I can attest to that, being a member of the church and growing up in the church. And when you don't, not to say that because let's say Christianity as a whole, because they want to sidestep around the whole homosexual lifestyle and the gay thing, that this is what you get as a result. But a lot of times the church, in my opinion, the church doesn't get to some of these issues in time. And you have kids grow up, and you can say sometimes people will have like a religious PTSD sort of thing. That's obviously not an official DSM-5 diagnosis, but based off the way you were raised, you might get to the point where you're an adult and you might not associate or identify yourself as being with the church anymore because of these issues. And there's so many issues that I personally believe that the church, and when I say church, I'm talking about Christianity as a whole, so you can put in all denominations. I don't want to pinpoint a single one out, but like Pastor Kevin said, a lot of times when it comes to issues of social justice, or speaking up for the historically disenfranchised minorities, a lot of times when these things, people want to bring up these issues, the church likes to be silent and not say a single thing. But then when Lil Nas X puts out a video which they deem to be offensive, then they get all up in arms, and they get so upset. And I'm not saying that these are the same. Like, I'm not saying that social justice issues is the same thing as like the video that he put out. But at the same time, you have to understand that when people are not heard, if you have a group of people that are not heard, and then they raise their voice over and over and over again, and they say, hey, I need to be heard, my issues matter too. And for the people who are within the LGBTQ community, and the trans community, we've just now got to the point where people are starting to regard them as human beings, and even if you look at the mental health side of things, if you look back at not a couple years ago, but in past versions of the DSM, we all know what homosexuality was categorized as a mental health condition, and now people know that it's not that way in the DSM-5. So when people speak up and say these issues matter to me, and nobody wants to pay attention to it, then when that same person, because Lil Nas X said that he lived in fear of going to hell, and then at some point he embraced what people were telling him, that, oh, you're gay, you're gonna go to hell, or God doesn't love you. I'm sure he's heard everything, this, that, and the third. But it got to the point where he said, okay, well, y'all said I'm gonna go to hell, so I took y'all there, I went there. And then you have this whole collective outrage, so I'm not condoning his actions. I'm not taking any type of side, because like I said, the internet is here for everybody. We have the chance to follow somebody if you enjoy the content. If you don't enjoy the content, not only can you unfollow, but you can block them. You don't have to keep up with a certain artist who you see that you don't like their content or their video or their music. And like I said, I'm not even a sneakerhead myself, and his shoes, looking at it, is not something that I'm like, oh, I'm going to run out and purchase those shoes, but he has the right to be an entrepreneur and to sell his merch and to sell his brand, and to, he needs to be heard. So those are pretty much my thoughts on the issue. Once again, not right, not wrong. We all have the ability to express ourselves on the internet. And I think it's, when you start to have these conversations, I think some good can come out of it, because then you start to see, okay, as we have these conversations, you realize that it's not an issue about the actual music video, but there's so many things that have been buried beneath the surface. And the more we talk about it, the more some people can get a better understanding of who they are, or what they've been through, and things of that nature. So that's pretty much my thoughts on that. Don't have too much to say on it, but like I said, if you don't enjoy somebody's content, feel free to unfollow them. And if you support them, you can support them. But at the very least, we can have a healthy debate or conversations or discussions about, why this person's acting the way that they are, and how he started off at Old Town Road and got to this. And a lot of people are saying that Hollywood has changed. I don't know. I don't know the man personally. I don't know. Outside of Old Town Road, I don't know too much about his music, so I can't sit here and say that Hollywood has gotten to him. That's for a different YouTuber. I try and take things from a mental health standpoint, and I try and put my opinions in there and maybe try and help you out. But I can't speak too much on the Hollywood aspect of things, because I don't know too much about the industry. So because somebody who asked me the question, about Lil Nas X, was saying, oh, did Hollywood get to him? Is Hollywood going to ruin his mental health? All this, that, and the third. And once again, I don't know, because I can't speak on, Hollywood's impact on somebody's sexuality. Obviously, with a lot of attention and with a lot of fame, you have more eyeballs, and you could possibly be more anxious. You could feel a lot of pressure to act a certain type of way. These things are all true, like when you become a public figure. But in terms of Hollywood changing somebody's sexuality or making somebody a certain kind of way, I can't say too much about that, because I'm not too sure about how that would work in the industry. So that's not my thing to comment on. I'm more so giving my opinion on this whole matter with the video, the backlash, Christians versus non-Christians. But at the end of the day, I think we all should respect each other, so that way we can continue to have a platform to express ourselves. So those are my thoughts on that. To hear more about this topic and other controversial topics as it pertains to mental health, make sure that you subscribe to this channel. This is my new YouTube channel, by the way. I had an old one, but this is my new YouTube channel. So subscribe here. Follow me on TikTok if you don't already do that. But I know a lot of y'all are coming from TikTok. And also subscribe to my new Twitch channel. We go live Monday through Thursday, 6 p.m. on the West Coast, 9 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm looking forward to having more conversations like this. And until then, y'all take care.